Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be reviewing two new shades that Etude came out for their over glowy tints. They have a total of 4 new shades actually, but I only picked up 2. The other 2 are red shades, and I don't usually wear glossy red shades, so I picked up these 2 only, 10 Better Pink and 11 Baddie Beige. I did find the previous shades a little bit too bright or vibrant for me, but these 2 look a little bit more mute and soft, which is around my palette, so I'm really excited to swatch these. It's quite similar to previous shades. These previous shades had sort of this pink transparent type of body, but for the over glowy, they do have more of a light purple color to it. For the brush, it pretty much looks the same as previous collections as well. So this is shade number 10, Better Pink. It's a cool summer mute shade, and you sort of have this classic cool pink color. It does seem to have a little bit of purple in it. For the ingredients, like, it is quite light in share. Looking at the promotional pictures, I think it does have a little bit more pink in it. It's a little bit more mute. It's not as light. It does have a semi-transparent type of finish to it, just because of how glossy it is. You can see for the shade color, it's very MLBB, sort of giving this glossy version of cool pink on top, or these light pink purple colors that have been trending recently. So if you're into that kind of shade but you want a glossy version, this would be a nice alternative. It definitely looks a lot better in person than the promotional pictures, probably because it does oxidize to be darker, and for the formula it pretty much feels the same. Sort of has this thick oil-like formula, and a semi-gel, semi-oily, very moisturizing. It's not waxy, it's not sticky, and has a very beautiful candy tanghoru glaze-like glossy finish. Very glossy, and it bounces on different angles of the lips to create a very beautiful juicy pout. It does look more like the juicy finish of a tangerine, where you can see the wrinkles of your lips, but it's going to look very juicy. The scent as well does smell a little bit sweet. Now for the fully concealed, more pigmented, cool mauvey purple shade. It does have a little bit of a pink undertone. So it reminds me of custard mauve. A lot different from the promotional pictures now. It's a lot more mute, a lot darker, a lot more purple. It's not as light or pale. Surprisingly, this is not as cool tone as I thought it would be, because there's like violet. Usually there's a violet purple undertone. For this one, it looks very subtle. So this is more towards being a neutral shade, but leans more slightly a little bit more cool tone. Kind of reminds me of Hip Rose from Peripera's Water Bear tint. I'm gonna have to swatch them side by side. So you can see for this lip product, it does have a red stain. You can see it did transfer quite a bit, but the stain is quite pigmented. So here are some comparison swatches. Better Pink at the bottom, we have Peripera's Water Bear and Chat Cool PT, and then on top of that is Hip Rose from the same collection. Chat Cool PT does have more purple in it, and I would say Better Pink looks the most similar to Hip Rose at the top. Very similar to each other, muteness and shade. At the bottom here I have Custard Mauve, which is also a cool tone shade, but similar to Bear Grape, it also works well for warm tones. Better Pink does seem to be a little bit more mute. It's not as vibrant as Custard Mauve. Overall, they are quite similar to each other. Here's the stain. Alright, next up we have shade 11, Baddie Beige. Really fun name. This is a warm autumn nude shade. It does look quite similar to the promotional picture. You sort of have this brown purple color, and if you've seen my recent favorite brown shades, you know that I am obsessed with brown purples at the moment. This is the shade that I was most looking forward to as well, and definitely didn't disappoint. This is described as being a warm shade, but I'm not really getting much warmth in this. The purpleness kind of mellows it out, so it kind of looks more like a neutral shade. Also, for this formula, you do have to wait a few seconds for it to oxidize, but also for the glossy finish to you have to wait a few seconds for it to settle, and then the glossy finish will be a little bit more prominent. So So this is the full look. Now we have a more pigmented brown shade. The purpleness is a lot more subtle now, so you're going to get more of a brown shade with a little bit of a purple undertone. It looks a lot more mute and dark than the promotional pictures, so the more they apply, the more dark and mute it's going to look. Very buildable, very pigmented. Yeah, so let's go in with the transfer test. And again, you can see quite a pigmented stain as well, a little bit rosy for the stain. So here's a hand swatch comparison with Baddie Beige at the bottom, Canyon, and then Softly Brown. So once they oxidize, they do have a similar muteness, but you can see Canyon and Softly Brown do have a little bit more rosiness to it, whereas Baddie Beige is less rosy and has more purple. And then from this side, I have Baby Otter Brown from the same collection and Deepen More. Baby Otter Brown, you can see, looks more similar to Canyon, and Softly Brown has a little bit of a rosiness to it. It's a little bit more warm. Deepen More looks a lot more similar to Baddie Beige. I'd say Baddie Beige can go a few shades darker than Deepen More. Alright, since I'm wearing a silver jewelry, I'm going to go in with the cool tone lip shade, and I'm going to be using Cool Pink on top as my base. Here's Better Pink up here, and then this is Cool Pink on top. Overall, they look pretty similar to each other. I'm going to go with Better Pink as a glossy finish. And this is the finished look. I think they complement each other really well. Very beautiful glossy and matte alternative to one another. So my final conclusions, I do like the formula of this. I don't really like how there's much of a red stain, but they do have a really good stain, very pigmented, very buildable, really beautiful packaging as well. These are shades that are already on the market, but these shades have been quite popular recently, especially for fall or into winter. Quite similar to Cleo's Crystal Glam Tints, has a semi-oil, semi-gel formula, and very glossy once you let it settle on your lips. Very beautiful shades for both of these. For Deepen More, it doesn't have much of a stain, so if you do want something similar with a better stain, I highly recommend Baddie Beige. Today's pick would be Baddie Beige. I've been obsessed with brown purples, so I definitely see myself wearing this a lot for fall and into winter. Better Pink was also a really good shade. Pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope that you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.